What's up, guys? Action activate. Pow, pow.
Gazbot, action activate. If then, big dog.
Thank you. If then, big dog. For those who watched last episode, you'll get the joke, but we're here again for episode 17.
Things Unspoken.
Yes, and I planted a lot of Easter eggs in the last one of my views on this episode. Do you kind of get where I was coming from now?
Being that this was very much about secret identity stuff, that yes.
Yeah.
But given that you were like, a lot of the problems you had with the previous episode were because you liked this one better or whatever, that I don't get. Because I was watching it waiting for it to be like a much better episode than it was based on what you said last time. And I was like, okay, this is nothing special. Like,
I liked it as a kind of quote unquote very special episode.
Oh, okay, yes. Let me clarify. It was very special. And in terms of being progressive and all that, that's fine. Great. But in terms of just like an exciting episode or one. See, the other thing is you insinuated, at least I thought, because the filler episode last time didn't forward any of the main plot at all. And you kept harping on that, which you were right. But I thought that meant that this one would forward it more. Now, technically it does in the sense that, oh, they got the key, but that's nothing. They didn't need to do that.
I would argue this one forwarded the civilian lives of the Rangers way more than anything did last episode.
Yes, but I didn't think we were talking about civilian lives. I thought we were talking about a plot because that's character development, and character development is great, but you could do that anytime and it could be a filler episode.
This was the thing I thought of for this was like at the end of Turbo, beginning of In Space, where they're like, Justin, you can't leave. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't go to space with us. And literally they're going to go to space. So it's like, hey, only person who's a student, you might not be able to leave. And she's like, well, I'm going to keep being a Ranger. And like, that's kind of, I see what
you're saying. But to me, it was an invented problem. Like there was no thought. I never thought, oh, she might actually leave and not be a Ranger. Not, 6 episodes before the end of the second season. That'd be ridiculous. If that happened, go ahead.
I meant for going forward.
To me, it was an example of like, here's a potential problem that we've created to have to solve it. I was never actually the bigger problem was their relationship and how's that going to work. And that wasn't really solved. That's like, hope we can make it work. That long distance, here we go. But like the idea that she might not continue to be a Ranger, that was never a real concern. I thought. I
didn't have that concern for this season, but I thought it created a good thing now that we know there is a next season.
Wait, for what is it? Cosmic Fury?
Cosmic Fury!
Going back to the beginning of the episode, it started with this, and I was like, "Oh, are we?"
Dude, same. I looked and I literally saw it. I'm like, it's one of those days.
Izzy was doing the exercise, and like, and the great thing is nobody will even see you in the privacy of your home. And meanwhile, Jane is doing it in the privacy of her office. Putting aside what weird timing, shouldn't she be supervising something or work, whatever? But I mean, arguably she's supervising it while she's doing it. But then there's a glitch, and I kept thinking that this guy was going to open the door and see her, and she'd be embarrassed that she's sweaty, or like, which would not be a great joke, but fine, that's the joke. She got caught looking stupid. Maybe she'd let go and snap her legs or something. But as soon as it got to the point where the glitch came, right here, the glitch happened, and she tried to go faster. When the door opened and she took a bounce, I literally out loud said, "Oh my God." Yeah, because I knew it was about to get much worse, and much worse it did. It just cartoon team rocketed. She bounces, she breaks physics. Okay, she's somehow tied up with more ribbon. Like it just makes no sense. I hate it. She bounced. Then she's in the ceiling. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. To me, the easiest solution they could have had is hear a loud commotion. She comes out all tangled. He looks at her and she goes, I don't want to talk about it, and moves on. And then you progress the plot. That
is the perfect middle ground between I don't want this joke and this horrible version we got. That is like, we have to have the joke. Yes, I agree. The explosion and the aftermath, that would be much better. And then Izzy catches her. Now, Izzy as a Power Ranger, and we've established that they often have like kind of superhuman abilities even when they're not morphed. But somebody catching a person bigger than that, like this is a superhuman feat she just did here.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, I know she's an athlete, but people should have been like, what? Like, they're like, oh, good, you got it.
She would have like given herself a hernia right here.
Yeah. And people's reaction to this comic ball bouncing thing and Izzy's superhuman strength feat catching her, everyone's just like, wow, that was nuts. So Izzy, what's going? Oh, hey, Fern's here. Like, just no one cares. No one cares. It was terrible. It was a terrible beginning. And what's going through my head is I'm like, this is the episode Big Dog liked better than the last episode.
I know it's got a weak start.
Yeah, it did. And then so then Fern comes in, and here's the thing. I'll say this: forgetting about that beginning part, and thank everything that it never came back. I was worried it was going to come back and be bigger at the end. They didn't do that, so good. Cutting out the beginning, the rest of it isn't bad. And in terms of like a nice character development piece and a little relationship thing and stuff, fine. It holds together. It's cohesive. It has some good beats. The action is good with the Sentai fighting and stuff. And sort of technically, objectively, it's better than last episode in terms of flow and story. But I did not enjoy it as much as last episode because last episode was kind of kooky and goofy and a lot of fun moments. This one was just sort of like, okay.
No, all right, this one I liked significantly better.
It just, I don't know. It just was not, it wasn't exciting to me.
Here's the thing, and I'll be honest, because we already did it in the beginning. I'm going to jump around a lot in the things I like, don't like, etc. Here's so far. Mm-hmm. Beginning joke, awful. Cut it out. It makes the episode like one like notch higher in my book.
Absolutely.
But this episode, none of the Rangers are bad. Like everybody is good.
Yes.
With what they're doing. Yes. I think the Park Ranger dad was very good in this episode.
Yes. They have made the Park Ranger dad, they've done a Ravi with him. Yeah. He started off as the worst, and now it's like, oh, he's learning from his mistakes. He's being kind of heroic. We like him. So they've done a good job with the Park Ranger. I agree with that.
Yes. Fern, great. Entire episode. Like everything that happened, I'm like, good. Yes. Some things I was frustrated in the moment, but then by the end, I felt a lot better about. But like this was one of those, and I touched on it at the beginning. For those that aren't familiar, a very special episode is a new term for shows going back even to like the 70s and 80s, where there's a specific topic that is the overarching theme of an episode that is like an important like life lesson kind of message.
Did you say it's a new term?
Yeah.
It's not a new term.
When did you first hear a very special episode?
In the 80s.
Oh, well, it's new to the youngins.
Well, because for those who don't know, I am a bit older than the Big Dog, and yeah, it refers to usually a socially conscious one talking about drugs or, AIDS or some heavy subject. And like, and so a very special episode in terms of like, don't lie. And here's two women in this relationship and it's going to be okay. And it's like, it's like very heartfelt and, it's got more stakes and more social commentary than the average episode would have. And it's usually, more heartfelt or emotional in some way.
Yeah.
But the term, a very special episode, wasn't something that people like after the fact came up with. Literally, they would have like, I don't know, Family Ties or something with Michael J. Fox. And then be like, this Sunday on a very special episode of Family Ties, Alex grapples with the death of a friend. And that's how they would advertise it.
Okay. Ninja Steel to you. I thought it was post.
No, it was not every episode was billed that way, depending on the network or the show or whatever. But it is a term that was specifically used to advertise shows like this. On a very special episode of Alf, Alf grapples with Willie's inability to stop drinking milk. Whatever the thing was. Like, but that's how they would do it. So that is not new, and it was created by the ad people who are advertising those shows.
I first heard the term within the last like 5 years or so,
Fair.
but I am glad it is older than 5 years.
Yeah. And fair enough that you hadn't heard it before. That's reasonable. But the fact that you're like, it's new term, I'm like, what? Like, have you heard of this
Again,
Star
because
Wars?
I
It
wasn't
started
there.
Mandalorian, you see, and now they have Andor. That's the second Star Wars show.
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
like
so
that
back,
the mime talks to call the Rangers, and Mucus calls him out, saying that mimes don't talk.
I love that. I love that
You're
as
a
well.
fake.
Which again, everything so far, if you cut out the first minute,
Yeah.
great episode so far.
Yes.
I like how kind of sassy she's being with everybody. I'm a little bummed they didn't, because she was sassy, she should have got the morph call out, but whatever.
Yeah, agreed. This made me think, I don't know why, but this shot, because Zato's in it, it reminded me that a while back he was wearing a baseball hat a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought that was gonna, like, it was never discussed. It came, it went, and it might mean nothing. But I'm like, what was with the baseball hat? Like, did the actor have to have a weird haircut for another role? Like, what? Why? Because it was more.
Maybe it was a thing, and this is, adjust your tinfoil. But maybe it was a thing, like he was doing a stunt and like scraped his head.
Right.
And then they're like, well, now you got to wear a hat a lot. It's like, okay.
That's what I'm thinking, that he got a bad haircut or something. It's just so. Yeah.
They did that, I think, in Zio, where Jason David Frank went to a System of a Down concert and got elbowed in the face in a mosh pit, and it like cut his cheek open. So during the whole episode, he has this egregious Band-Aid, and they're like, oh, Tommy, what happened? Oh, well, derp. Okay. And then plot continues.
Right. But because it was a hat, and it wasn't one episode, it was multiple episodes. So,
yeah.
And maybe it means nothing. Maybe they're like, let's try giving him a hat for a while. But like, I don't know. I did like the fighting, which is probably mostly Sentai footage. It felt early. It felt like season 1, maybe.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way. It just like
low
it seemed
stakes.
like. What's that?
Lower
stakes, and fighting a lot of henchmen and just stuff that we don't see very often this late in the show usually. Oops, let's do this. But overall, I enjoyed the fights. This was my least favorite joke, where Mucus says she's the brains, and then Izzy's like, if you're the brains, then I'm a turnip. I get the joke. No.
I also didn't enjoy that joke.
Okay.
I quickly moved on from it.
Yes. One thing I found interesting, right here. Hold on. Oh, no, I skipped ahead. Mucus jumps on this thing to get away, which is sort of like a zip line swing.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was cool. Looks like it'd be fun to use. This is New Zealand, which is close to Australia. And when I saw this, there's a Australian cartoon. It's a kid show, but I recommend it. It's a great show called Bluey.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Yes.
And there's an episode where they're at the playground and the kids are using this toy at the playground. I've never seen it in America this way. I think I saw it at an amusement park once, but never just at a regular playground. But I saw this. I'm like, oh, are they in a playground? And then a minute later, they're in a playground. And I'm like, look at that, Bluey helping me out, knowing what's going on. And I love the fight in the playground. Again, it's lower stakes, but I liked it had like Mighty Morphin vibes when they just let's fight in a playground. And it's just Izzy fighting these henchmen. And I was never really worried about Izzy. They did a little weird camera stuff. Reminded me of what you were talking about, the music videos back in the day. Yeah. But
yeah, I think this was American footage.
Really?
I think so.
So you think this swing, it had to be a New Zealand, right? Because
that's what I think.
But it could have cut after that because they run down the road, and then this here could be American footage.
Yeah, maybe the jump is where it transitions to Sentai. But either way, I thought it was good. I like the change in environment. Reminded me of Mighty Morphin because they fought on playgrounds a lot.
Right, and you're right. It would be like, whoop, here we are in a canyon for some reason, and yeah. Why do you think that's American? I mean, it could be, but I assumed it was.
The silhouette of the Green Ranger because
they have a more feminine, smaller stature. That's a good point. Okay, if you're right, Ninja Steel to you.
Thank you. That's really the only time I can tell with Izzy specifically if it's American or not.
I noticed it with these scenes a lot when she was talking because they were roughly the same height and she was a little thinner and this was a weird scene because it was like, ooh, what's the ethics here? Should she just run away or it goes back and this is the whole secret identity thing here where it's so inconsistent and Yeah, but it was a good scene where it's like, confessing your love to someone that you think is a stranger essentially, but is the person that you love.
Well,
Kind of
to
a neat
me,
thing.
what I saw with it, so Fern is talking to the Green Ranger, and she's super worried about Izzy, and it's like, I love her, like something can't happen to her, and it's more the like word vomit realization,
Yes.
and then like because it's such a high stress situation. So here's my
100%.
question. To
I had
you.
no issue with that. Yeah.
No, I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Here's
More
my question to you. Park Ranger never mentions Izzy once. Do you think it's because A, he's heartless and doesn't care, and we're just going to look past it, or B, he has trust that Izzy is the smart kid and is going to get away to safety?
I think he thinks Izzy is this, and Izzy's tough. I mean, she caught her boss on a ball earlier, if you remember. I think, I think he saw Izzy go one way, and like, I don't think he chose Fern over his daughter. I think he's like, I'm the adult. This is the kid I could help.
Yeah.
And my daughter's going to do her own thing, and she's okay. And yeah, I think he's probably worrying in his head, but he's also not word vomiting. Like
but he's more like calm about it. Of me being stressed isn't going to help this. Let's go.
Right.
Whatever plan we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't take that as him being a bad father or anything like that.
Okay. Which is funny because again, in terms of the growth, season 1, we probably would have really hated however that would have played out.
It's true, but he's proven himself to be better, so now we give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. So right here we see Ion throw the armor on, doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, they get beat by what's his name, Quick Spine, who's basically just really fast. Even with the speed key, Ollie can't do anything.
Yeah. Which it's a villain.
Yeah,
it's a villain that exists.
Yeah. This is why I guess the character stuff is the most interesting part of this episode. The fights, the Sentai footage or American footage, but the Ranger fight scenes, they're all good. They're all well done, but they just feel like no stakes whatsoever. Just like, okay, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares?
Which to me, again, I more judged it for the civilian stuff because of that versus everything else, which wasn't bad, but it was fine.
Yeah. So they go back to base, and Izzy's all distracted because she's like, I don't know what to do about like Fern and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, so we skipped over this. Fern gets accepted to the sports college.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And Izzy is distraught about it because that means
it's 6 hours away
to see each other, and it's 6 hours away. What we now find out is Izzy also applied to that college, and the reason she's distraught is she got in, and everybody is super supportive for her, and she's like, but like being a Ranger though.
Yeah. I like when she gives her when she confesses to them, she's like, I got in and I said no. They're like, maybe you should say something. I like that everybody had different reactions, and Zato is just like, that must have been a hard decision.
Yep.
Like I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, must have been a hard decision.
This is another one of those things where like this freeze frame, I feel like encapsulates everybody's personality in the show. Dino and Amelia are both like the ones who understand the emotional side. Ion's happy to be there. Chase is like here or there. Like he's not bad, but and then Ollie is probably trying to be right about something.
It looks like Ollie is looking at Javi. Like the two of them are like, you believe this?
Did I say Chase?
You said I corrected you. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. That's his actor's name, right?
Yeah, it is. But also Dino Charge Black was named Chase, so it's double confusing.
Yeah. I love his shirt, by the way. He's been wearing that a couple times, and I really like it.
It's a good generic like rock star. Like, is that a dollar sign? Is that lightning? What? I don't know. It's a rock man. He does music.
It's one of these things, and they're never gonna do this. So Hasbro, even though you're listening, I know you're not going to. But so many of these like random shirts like that, I'm like, I'd wear that shirt.
Yeah. Well, the cheetah shirt, Beast Morphers, I've talked about.
I was gonna go there, but also try not to open that wound again.
I bet it's a shirt that just exists out there, like at Old Navy or something. I just didn't know.
I know you're gonna look, and it's gonna be like. Did you ever go? This was like 15 years ago. This store called Stephen Barry's, and it was usually in malls, and they had like weird like novelty shirts, but they were all like $6.
Never heard of it. Maybe it was a West Coast thing.
I don't know. I think it was after like a basketball player who started this like affordable, like cool brand. And me and my friends went when they opened and bought all of these really dumb shirts. Like we got tuxedo t-shirts and like these random pun things. And one of my friends, as a joke when we were in high school, got like this white sweatshirt with a unicorn and a rainbow on it. And
Right.
like then we all had to wear it at some point, and it was like instead of Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, it's Brotherhood of the very flamboyant unicorn sweatshirt. And anyways,
But no, I've never heard of it. No.
there you go.
I would have bought some shirts there though. $6. Yeah.
Oh, that was the thing. I went, I'm like, this is a deal. And then I ended up with like 30 shirts. I'm like, this is a lot of shirts.
Yeah, I might not
Here
have bought
I
30.
am.
I mean, I'd buy shirts from there now if they existed. But no,
Well, if they were good shirts.
My guess is that they were West Coast because it's not like I didn't go into malls 15 years ago, but I was living on the East Coast. So
I think it was nationwide, and maybe you were just in Connecticut.
I have never lived. I've been in Connecticut maybe once or twice.
Sorry, not Connecticut, Delaware.
Oh, okay. 15 years ago, I was not in Delaware.
But your mind
Also,
and heart were in Delaware.
Delaware's on the East Coast. You realize that, right?
But Delaware is different than the general East Coast from everything you told me.
Yeah, Delaware's. If you're watching this from Delaware, I'm sorry. Not sorry. Like I'm sorry I insulted you. I'm sorry you're in Delaware. I've lived there. It's horrible. It's just horrible. And I've met good people there, and they need to escape, and some of them have, you know. Delaware's not a good place to be. It's not. I lived there twice in my life. I did not enjoy it either time.
And also, just shout out so I can be relatable in this. If you live in Antelope, California, everything he said.
You've never.
I was there long enough with you to feel just a full life.
Yeah. Well, when we were in Antelope, I kept saying this feels like Delaware to me.
And then I understood.
We're making enemies. We're making enemies. Let's move on.
We're commiserating with the audience potentially.
So, okay, back to they're not doing a good job. He has super speed, didn't even steal the key. So if you didn't know that key that the Ranger was brandishing earlier on was going to be significant.
No, it wasn't the Ranger, or sorry, the Park Ranger.
Yeah.
You said Ranger.
I meant the Park Ranger.
I know. That's why I'm confused, and I'm with you on this. The Park Ranger has this key that they made a point of being like, I have a key for this excavator.
It's extra.
Yeah, so it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, the villains need an excavator. I don't know why you can't just Void Knight tornado your way into the earth if that's your plan, but whatever.
Or just like attack him when the Rangers aren't around, or wait till the excavator starts getting used and then get it. There's other plans, but clearly, this is how they're doing it.
This also, as I figure out a plan, is yet another reason I'm like, if you told him you were Rangers, you could have just hit him at the base.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I am interested. You're right. There is a little bit of forwarding of the theoretically the bigger plot, or at the very least a small mini plot before the big plot of like why he says they're going to dig to do some drainage. So is it like they want an excavator for something completely different, or do they know that underneath there's the thing that they need, or so I know you don't know, but what if they want to use the excavator to dig up the Rangers base? Because they know where it is.
Cool.
They know where it is.
That's true. That's a Ninja Steel point to you if it's true.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing I was thinking at first, my knee-jerk reaction was going to say the Ninja Nexus Star, but we know that's gone. And I'm trying to think of.
I can't remember.
I thought it left the planet. Yeah,
it was in the ocean. I remember it being in the ocean. I don't remember if it left the planet.
It did something. But,
it did something. You're right. Hey, everybody. It did something. You heard it here first.
It did. And Mick talked about it. And I'm trying to think of deep cuts of, are there other Ranger items that could be buried that they're like, hey, remember when the Jungle Fury morphers were buried in the woods? That's what we're going to find.
What about excavating the command center that then had the Zeo command center underneath it?
Probably not. Too deep of a cut. Because I didn't even remember that.
Okay, but that is something underground. I mean, like it's, like you said, hey, was anything like that happened? I said, yes, here it is. And you're like, no, not like that.
No, not that deep. Come on. It needs to be right below surface level.
Base.
It's going to be one of those like you see where it's like, wait, I think there's something under there. Removes a little bit of dust. Hey, I found buried treasure with $200,000. Let's go on a shopping spree.
They wouldn't need an excavator for that, though, you see. They would just need a shovel.
And a can-do attitude. So right here,
anyway, this is where Izzy gets confronted because her father, the park ranger, is like, "Hey, I heard you got in. What's the deal?" And Fern is much more upset than he is.
Yeah, he called and was like, "Why did you deny my daughter?" And they're like, "She denied us." why did you deny them? And now Fern's like, I don't know if I could be with you because you're a dirty liar.
Yeah, because she even gives her a chance of like, what, I don't understand why, and she's like, I can't tell you, and she's like, yeah, I'm out. Like she didn't immediately say she was leaving, but when she's like, I refuse to explain myself. She's
So
like,
here's the thing I loved about this part of the episode. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or you guys, every time we see Ranger relationship drama with a non-Ranger,
yeah,
it's always this over-the-top convoluted thing where like they react, like the other person reacts really weird, the circumstances are like totally unrealistic in this is so simple and true that it's just great.
I agree. The subtlety makes it more realistic. I absolutely agree that here's like, I don't have a lot of critique of this episode other than the beginning, which is horrible. There's nothing really wrong with this episode, and the character stuff is the strong suit.
Yes,
I agree with everything you're saying. Just on a base level, I had more fun watching the last episode. That's what it comes down to.
Fair. I enjoyed I really enjoyed this, and it's another testament where in the past, if you've seen me get frustrated at episodes, I'm like, this isn't that hard to do, and you do it so well when you do it well. Quit giving us these weird Zorb ball, yoga ball, slapstick, dumb things, and just do this for another 2 minutes an episode. I don't get why we can't do that.
Did you see the thing Simon Bennett said on Twitter?
Not recently, no.
I don't really follow, but occasionally I'm just in it. Like, you're not in social media at all, really, and I'm in it just enough that if something's big enough that enough people retweet it and mention it, I might see it. Yeah. And so I don't know what precipitated, but Simon Bennett is very active on social media, and a lot of people were talking to him about the show, blah, blah, blah. And I guess somehow, like, I saw his final tweet that somebody retweeted, like, this was like, this is my final word on it. And he's like, regarding civilian fights, meaning Rangers when they're unmorphed battling, he's like, we're only going to do it when the story calls for it. I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not a big fan of them because they hurt the show. Anytime we have a civilian fight, it has a negative impact on the show. And I was like, what? And I was tilting my head too. But he elaborated, and please go read this for yourself because I'm paraphrasing it, you know. But he basically said, normally there's two units, and there's the unit doing like the Rangers in the base and whatever, and then there's the other unit doing the fighting stuff. If one of the units is now doing the Rangers fighting, the other unit has to do non-Ranger related things, like comedy duo bits that have nothing to do with the Rangers, for example. So as close as he could come to actually saying it without saying it, civilian fights equal Jane and Jayborg doing stupid stuff. That's how it reads. So why do we get on this? Oh, because why can't they do stuff right? Well, sometimes it might be the simple math of production and money. And like, that doesn't explain everything, but that was like, wow, okay. So that's a terrible, there should be a better answer than that and a better way to get around that. But the way he said it is like, this is not the decision, and I'm reading into it. This is not the decision Simon Bennett, would have made, but I know what happens when we do this. This is
how shooting scheduling works.
Yeah. And so like that made me think about a lot of things that like, oh, that's a tough decision then, because civilian fights can be cool, but and like, yeah.
Yeah. And again, I appreciate that. It gives a lot of clarity on stuff. This also goes back to, outside of the beginning of this episode, we've seen plenty of good comedic Jane and Jayborg stuff that wasn't offensive.
Yeah, agreed.
And I feel like also the slapstick stuff takes so much more work.
Yeah.
That's the part I don't get. I'm like, the suggestion I gave is all off screen, and it's funnier, arguably.
And less work, less money. And going back to like Bulk and Skull, who did a lot of dumb slapsticky stuff, but it was like 99% just two guys falling down into a puddle or, bumping into each other, making funny faces. As goofy and silly as they were, never did they turn into a piece of rubber that bounced around the room or fart so big that they shot up into the air. Like they never became non-humans.
Or became a blueberry.
Yeah, that is something that later day Rangers, I don't know when it started. I mean, Ninja Steel certainly did it, but it might have started even before Ninja Steel. I'm not sure.
Probably.
But everything from Ninja Steel on has had those moments of like, what is happening? Did Dino charge? I don't know, but stop making the comedians into cartoons. They're not cartoons. They're people. Let them do some comedy. They're not cartoons.
Dino Charge was usually the cast at the cafe.
Yes, and I was trying to think. There wasn't a dedicated comic relief character that I could remember. I don't remember any like cartoony stuff happening with them. I guess is what I'm
They
saying.
did over the top stuff, but it wasn't that like 19 somersaults and then I fell and my hair was disheveled.
Right. Yeah. No, it was more like, pizza pie fell on my head, which I may or may not think is hilarious, but it doesn't break the reality of the world. You know, It's like, okay.
And it costs less money.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't get it. But again, competing directives from creatives and financial people and demographics that say a 6-year-old thinks it's funny. Who knows? I don't know. So anyway,
I'm glad you paused here. Yeah. This frustrated me probably the most outside of what we talked about in the beginning, but just from like a positive episode part perspective, this is what officially made me mad about the Ranger identity thing. Yep. If you look here, don't move it.
Okay.
Right here, we can see roughly 20 people.
Yeah, in the background.
And a squad of bad guys.
Yep.
I don't care what random logic Zordon or whoever else is in charge is going to say. If 20 plus people are immediately in danger, you got to rip that cord and break that glass and go, guess I got to morph right now so they don't die.
Right. I agree. But we see this all the time.
And here's the other part that pissed me off. So then she squares up, which I'm like, you're not going to do anything because you didn't before. So I don't know what the heck this is going to be.
No, she could do civilian fight. I mean, she could.
She could.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be mad in approximately less than 10 seconds. So now we're like, the stakes are high. How are we going to get out of this situation? He's going to jump in. Very noble. Like him even more now.
Yes. Because he doesn't know she's a ranger.
She's like, what are we going to do? The key fell, blah, 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 whatever. Stakes have not been this high in a while. I'm going to get you to safety. Oh, yeah, the Rangers show up. They teleport in front of everyone. They all teleport in front of everyone unmorphed.
Yes, but look, when they teleport in, there's no one in the background anymore.
I hate it. I hate this scene. I hate it. I despise it. It makes no sense. I was so frustrated. This is... Just own it. Just be the Rangers. Just do it. I don't know why we need to keep it a secret. I haven't ranted like this in a while. I'm so frustrated. Just who cares? Just be Rangers. Just do it. I don't know why we need to keep it a secret. People already know. The glass has already been broken. The secret's out. Just let it be done. And save more people.
But they have to have their secret identities.
I still really enjoyed this episode, though, and that's why I'm so heated.
I'm with you. I enjoyed your rant. You haven't been that heated in a while. It's true, and I was pretty heated in the beginning. We both had some blowout moments this episode.
The beginning, I'm more disappointed than heated. This makes me mad because of how good everything is, and this little thing is stupid and makes no sense.
I agree with you, but if I was going to have to explain it, I would say, look how everyone's gone. In the few minutes since like this happened, everybody ran away. They're all run away and hiding, and so now they're safe. But it's funny because we had talked about the secret identity thing, and it brought to my attention something that is maybe we've mentioned before, but it really highlighted, and this is kind of what you're saying. They could have morphed, they could have teleported in already morphed.
Yes, exactly.
Why? And they always teleport, 99% of the time they teleport in not morphed, which makes no sense. I understand you want to conserve morphing energy or don't escalate or whatever, but if a secret identity is important, you morph, you teleport. And then, if nothing's going on, okay, demorph. But yeah, even if there weren't a bunch of people around, it is weird.
People get screen time. We have to do a morphin episode. I get that. We already did the morph earlier.
They could have done it back at the base, though.
No, I know. This is the thing, like, if it was another Ranger season where they find out there's trouble and they go like wherever the energy is or whatever thing we're going to explain, that's fine. They literally are told by a hotline where danger is. This crowded area where somebody literally called me to show up is in danger. Why don't I already show up ready to roll?
You are right. I agree, but I am checking, and ever since they've shown up, we have not seen anyone in the background. So the plausible deniability is that everyone ran away when the bad guys showed up, and Maybe they
There
checked their
are
sensors.
so many bleachers there. I mean, isn't this the thing? Like how Justin found out he hid under something, and he's like, "Oh, looks like they're Rangers. Guess I get to be one now." Burp, burp, burp. Like,
yeah. Well, it's also a thing of it's inconsistent within every season, and it's inconsistent season to season. But sometimes Zordon or Gosei or some mentor is like, "Look, you got to keep this a secret for a reason. Might be a good reason, might be a bad reason." In this one, it's like Zato and Solon are just like, "Okay, you're Rangers now." Like there's never any big why are they keeping it a secret? And Ollie's mom finds out, and it's not like, "Oh my God, this is a problem." It's like, okay, well, it's like, so when there isn't a like all powerful mentor that gives them their powers. Like if somebody came and said, "Hey, you've got superpowers, but you got to keep them a secret," I'd be like, "Okay, I guess you gave me the powers, you know what's going on." But if I just like got them or you gave them to me, then I'd be like, "Why do they have to be a secret?" Like, and from the world, yeah, maybe I don't want everyone to know, but like I'm not going to tell my family. Or
the thing that's frustrating, especially in this season circumstances, when Ollie's mom finds out, I think they said like, "Don't tell people because it'll put you in further danger." Blah blah. Okay, in a vacuum, that's a reasonable thing. So many of these episodes, including this one, are targeting the loved ones that the villains already know about.
Anyway, yes. Yeah.
Who are you protecting?
Well, even going back to Rita and Zed, like Mighty Morphin days, they knew the Ranger's secret identity.
Yeah.
They'd be like, look, Toddy's at school, like
let me turn his book bag into a monster.
Right. So they could have easily went after their family. Yeah, it's like an excuse to have a secret identity just because. I don't know. It's
the worst.
So she makes a splint for his leg.
Which is like, cool how she's just like, "Hey, sorry." Boom!
Yeah.
Break this hurdle over my leg. Just crash!
Yeah, she's physically powerful. And then she's like, "I guess I picked up a few things having a park ranger for a dad." You'll notice I keep saying park ranger now, so people don't think I'm talking about a
Hey, look at that sheen. It's Sentai footage.
What?
This is Sentai footage.
Because of a chain?
You can tell by the camera.
You said that chain.
Sheen.
Oh, sheen. Gotcha. Oh, something's going on here.
I think it's loading weird.
Yeah.
So
Dino
she's
Night.
like, "I'm gonna take you to safety. Like, you're a great dad. Sorry you're in danger. Hopefully the Rangers handle things. Derp-a-derp."
And then somebody's like, "Hey, Zato, do they have quicksand on your planet? Because we can't go fast enough. We got to slow this guy down." And they use like the cushion, whatever. I forget what key it is. He says cushion something, and then they basically make the ground soft, and he gets stuck in it.
This is one point I wanted to make. Before this episode, did we ever see him put keys in the Dino Night Morpher?
I don't know.
I feel like we haven't, and I thought that was awesome.
That's a good point. I don't know the answer. It is a good point, though.
Yeah, because he did this quicksand and something else, and he's like, "Doot doot, click,
yeah,
boom," and I'm like, "What? That's awesome! Yeah. What? Do that more."
Cool. I wonder if the toy can do that.
Probably.
But 2 keys, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
This was weird to me. They trap the Sporks beast. They blast him with their blast. And then it's like, he's like, "I'm going to get bigger. I'm growing up fast." And he's a spork. So, okay, he grows by himself. But then Ollie or somebody was like, "I was hoping more for a destroyed kind of effect," which it's like, at this point, every villain you've ever fought, especially sporks, you blow them up and they get big. Why would you think he was going to?
This, so I'll let the joke go because they just got done fighting non-Sporix when Zed was here.
They got big too because they'd go gigantify.
But they had a ray that did it, so in theory, if they destroyed them before, it wouldn't have been a problem.
They know he's a Sporix beast.
I know, but I'm just saying I let that one go because of where we've gotten to at this point.
Meh, I do not. And then they have the Megazord battle, which I was not a big fan of. It was fine. It was like a lot of the others were sort of like whatever.
It just felt very anticlimactic.
It's anticlimactic, and the whole point of this guy, the quick spine, he's super fast. And they make it seem like we're even faster, but they don't do a good job of that. It doesn't seem like he's going fast and they go faster. It seems like he's regular speed and they go regular fast. And it's like, wait, what? Why did they? All right. I mean, we know they're going to win.
The sword. All right, we win. Super move.
Yeah, it was just a little weird, and it was rushed for something that should have maybe had a little super speed. Like I don't know. I didn't care.
Yeah, But again, that part, whatever. Now we're back to base. Everybody's supportive and says, Izzy, you gotta say something. You don't have to tell her you're a ranger, but like you gotta talk to her. Go catch her. Go Goodwill Hunting this for those who have seen the movie and go see about a girl.
See about a girl. And so she does, and she tells her how she feels, and she's like, I can't, you don't want to go to the school because I'm going there. You've always, oh no, that's not it. And then she says, I love you too. And she's like, and when she said that, I was like, she's doing that on purpose. She knows what she's doing. But then it was cute. It was like a cute moment between the two of them, the sort of plausible deniability of like, well, I'm not saying I am, but if I was. And so it was a cute moment, but I was still like, why can't she just tell her now? Like, what at this point, like why are we playing this game? Like, I don't understand. So
I think it was, again, like you said, the plausible deniability, but this goes back to, you can tell them and they're not going to spontaneously combust or be any less targeted by the villains than they are right now.
Right. Yeah. So it's tough because it was a cute moment, like in terms of the relationship and stuff, but it was, yeah. And then she goes off to school and she says, I could teleport. And I was thinking that before, actually. Like if she had to be like training 9 hours a day, okay, you can't do that. But at first I thought like, oh, she's going to school 6 hours away. So what? You teleport. But it does seem, this is why I said like the relationship is like, where is it? But I mean, if she could teleport it should be fine.
No, like, it's going to be fine. And it's funny when she said the teleport, this is more for you than for anybody else. It reminded me of the early issues of Invincible when he's in college and he's like, yeah, I'll see you a couple hours away. No worries. And he like goes and just visits anybody at any time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It reminded me of that. But again, I loved this ending scene. She didn't flat out say it and kind of was coy about it. I accept that because she told her. And to me, it was, you are more important than this arbitrary rule that somebody said, this is going to help us more than hurt us. Because I hate when they do I can't tell you. And now I got to just suffer and be emo.
Well, that's what she said earlier in the episode. And then her teammates were sort of like, her teammates said, say you love her. And she's like, well, I'm going to take that a step further. Like,
I love the resolution there. It once again proves the whole secret identity thing this season is stupid and shouldn't be a thing anymore. Agreed. And let's get over it. And I really enjoyed this episode, even the part that I got frustrated about because of how much I enjoyed it.
I'm going to grade it similar to how I graded the last one, as a filler episode and as a last time I said it was a C+ for just an episode in the continuity and a B+ for a filler episode.
Yep.
I'm going to say it is a C for where it is in continuity because I enjoyed it less. Okay. But as a filler episode, I'll still give it a B+ because objectively it was a good episode, better than last episode, even if it wasn't my favorite. But I want to give it a B because I hated that beginning so much, but I'm going to let it slide.
I am taking the beginning into account, but mostly ignoring it because if you take it out, it's still a great episode. If you leave it in, it's just a dumb start to a great episode, in my opinion. So in continuity, I give it a B+ because the Ranger stuff wasn't great and the beginning was dumb. If those were fixed and all of that was ramped up, it could have easily been in the A range. As a filler episode, this was an A.
Wow.
Yeah. Because surprised. I can't think of any other time this season that we had better civilian stuff than this episode.
You make good points. I mean, like I said, it's tough because I'm not arguing with any of them. And it's like, objectively, I think you're correct. I'm just with my gut. Like I wasn't I didn't have as much fun as I did last episode. And maybe the point of the episode wasn't to be fun, but I don't know.
And honestly, part of the reason I think I liked it a little bit better is because the first minute I'm like, this episode's going to be terrible. My expectations are gone. This is going to be.
You may have colored my opinion of it too, because you didn't spoil anything, but you definitely made it clear that you liked this episode a lot more than the other one. And and so I'm like, what? This isn't that great. Like, so I came into it like, well, the beginning's terrible. It's all right. Well, so you might have done yourself a disservice you might have done the episode a disservice by telling me that.
Now, to me, for the filler stuff, I take the Ranger stuff as, is it bad or not? Like, if it's great, it's a pleasant surprise. But at very minimum, I think it should be fine, and this was fine.
Right.
I liked the thing, like I said, with the Dino Knight Morpher. I thought that was cool. But like civilian wise, the more we see episodes like this for Izzy, the more she's like going up. She might even be number 2 for me now. She's like
She's definitely,
at least
yeah.
she's at least
very
3,
good.
possibly 2.
Sorry, I was just double checking something.
No, you're good.
Her and Javi both have come up a fair amount.
Yes.
It's hard for me to say. Zato is definitely my number 1, which is odd for me to say since he's a red.
Yeah.
But I do think he's one of the best leaders of Power Rangers I've seen.
Yeah, in a while. So we
there
saw
are
that
22. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say there are 22 episodes this season, according to whatever online thing I just checked.
We talked about that.
Okay, but I wanted to double check that it was actually 22. So this is 17. So there's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's 5 episodes left. The question is, do you think we're going to get a 5-episode ramp up? Like, okay, it's ramping up, big 2-part finale. That's what I'd like to see. Or do you think we're going to get more filler episodes that maybe have a little bit to do with the big thing that's going to happen?
I think here's my prediction, and this is my hope also. I'm putting it in the universe. I think the next 2 won't be filler, but it'll be set up, and then the final 3 will be, this is what we're doing, and it's going to be awesome.
That's what I want to happen as well. That is absolutely what I want to happen as well. Now, I don't know. I think in, 6 days from now, Netflix is going to drop them all.
Yep.
So, but I don't know if, again, today's Thursday, so this weekend there might be more Canada drops or somewhere else, so we might be doing another 1 or 2 next week and then playing catch up. It's going to be, yeah. It's funny because after Power Morphicon, we're like, look, we've been putting up tons of videos. Don't expect that. And ever since, we've been putting up like 2 a week at least.
The thing I will say is, and maybe this will change for the better again, after Dino Fury, we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
We're doing stuff. We don't know what we're doing. But right now, we're like, finish Dino Fury, A, because you guys like it, and B, because we're not trying to get spoiled.
Right. Yeah. And we don't want to watch it and then do a review like 3 months later or something, like we want to do all it's still fresh.
And also like watching 6 in a row is really hard to be like, let me go back to this episode that was another filler episode and not be swayed by the awesome this thing that happened.
And stuff starts to blend together. You watch 3 episodes. That's why we take notes sometimes. You watch 3 episodes in a row. What happened, where, and when. But anyway, this will be going up, I guess, Friday at the earliest, as per Big Dog's request, even though we're recording it Thursday. Yes. And then next week, we may be back with new episode. We'll be back with a new episode. Whether it will be Dino Fury or not, I don't know, but we'll be back with something. Until then, I've been Gazbot.
I am still the Big Dog.
And
to the Power
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
You're the one.
Didn't even get you to give you a chance to rebut.
I know. If there's one thing I need to do, it's rebut.
Yeah, one but's not enough. Well, so in continuity after SPD, is it Overdrive or Mystic Force? I think it's Overdrive, isn't it?
No, it's Mystic Force.
Okay, so if we were looking for if we did this, we would need to get copies of Mystic Force, and we maybe would start doing Mystic Force next. Maybe.
Or we could just skip right to Overdrive. It's kind of whatever.
We'll figure it out, but that's not happening for a while. We'll see you next time.
Yep.